He serves in the board of directors of Faith Colleges and the IXL Security and Agile Landed Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, let us call on Engineer Allan P. Timonera, the President of Fastech Synergy Philippines Incorporated. Let's give Engineer Timonera a round of applause.
Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Montoya, Dr. Paringit, ladies and gentlemen. I was just taking my notes, absorbing all the discussions. I would like to focus my comment on a couple of areas on the that was discussed in Dr. Paring's discussion. One would be pertain to the support of technology transfer and commercialization. Perhaps that could be tied as well to the policy development and advocacy, as well as the development of human and institutional resources. I will be very straight. I will come here with a standpoint from industry, and I will be unabashed about it. Okay? The challenge really is how to extend the value created in research into industry. In order for the Center of Excellence to create that value in a lasting manner, we need to bring that into industry and to benefit the bigger population. While it may be tempting and even justified to pursue a wide swath of technologies, success will favor for those that set priorities. Let me show a quick comparison. Rather, let me just share rather in a quick comparison. The electronics industry exported 37 billion last year, but it generated 10 billion value added because we had to import those items. And the industry together employed directly roughly about 500,000 or so, which translates to basically about $20,000 US for every person employed in the industry. That's our metric for productivity. Now, in comparison, the BPO industry generated roughly close to 30 billion US, primarily dominated by the voice call industry. This is all value adding, because the BPO industry does not import any commodity materials. On the other hand, it does employ about 1,500,000. Again, roughly at parity with regards to its ability to generate value at $20,000 US for every person employed. Now, if we were to consider prioritization, which among these two industries consider that we have a limited set of resources? If we go to the laundry list, electronics would require heavy investment in infrastructure. We need roads, airports, all the economic zones that we have. And that's only generating half of what Malaysia is generating. On the other hand, if you talk about supporting the BPO industry, we need communications. We don't need airports. We don't need economic zones, although there is a tendency to put them into what we call PEZA buildings. Now, to drive the value of these two comparable industries would require investment in human capital. In the case of semiconductors and electronics, that would be what we call microelectronics design. I've heard the previous reactor mentioned, and I'm glad that they are active, in fact, in Iligan in that regard. But if we just run a few numbers, it would take 20 years for us to reach $1 billion industry. That's not something that is going to be felt by everyone in this room. So we have to do something else. While it may generate more value, we just don't have the critical mass. We don't have enough graduates. Even if the graduate generates $50,000 US, it would take just to reach $1 billion, 20,000. And sadly, we can only graduate at this point no more than 500 microelectronics design capable engineers a year nationwide. So, we need to understand that in that context where we can be competitive as a country. On the other hand, if we take a look at the BPO industry, it has actually a unique set of challenges. It's relatively young compared to the electronics. Electronics has been in existence for more than 50 years. The BPO, relatively at about 20. They are still to go through their challenges. And one of that is what is dawn of robotic process automation. And that's a very serious issue confronting the industry. But data science could be an answer. And I mentioned data science as a priority in that sense because in my discussion region-wide in Asia and Japan, Philippines actually has the potential to be at parity with regards to the data science and AI industry. Whereas if we look at electronics, I've spent a good 3 decades of my life in electronics. I don't think we will be able to catch up with the rest of the region, frankly. When we talk about additive manufacturing, Industry 4, Philippines will learn all it can, but it will never be at least the choice location. We just don't have the supply chain and the critical mass here. But we do have a unique opportunity, and that window may not be long, to develop machine learning engineers, data scientists. We could actually be at parity. The gap in knowledge is not that great with our neighbors. So, from an industry standpoint, prioritizing which area is in the context of how as a country can we be more competitive. We would like to develop and cover a lot of technologies. Perhaps I would even agree that we do so. But there is a difference between acquiring knowledge and developing that further and capturing the value and prospering that for the rest of the country. In relation to the human resource aspect, every enterprise, before they come and invest, would always ask the primary question, do we have the human capital to support this investment? And we have been bypassed in that regard insofar as design in favor of India. By trained graduates, I mean graduates not only grounded on scientific fundamentals, they must also be adept at using the latest industry tools. Training in industry takes about a year before a graduate, even a master's graduate, can become a productive contributor to an effort. But partnering with industry and asking them what they need is a little bit tricky. I had the fortune to wear the hat on both sides. I work with academia and I work with industry. And I still don't see a clear way forward. Traditionally, academia has always moved on a slow policy cadence. And rightly so. But industry deals with a different set of drivers in the market. I would like to share quickly the story we have at Faith Center for Microelectronics. When we did this endeavor, my instinct told me to do the things that I knew. I put 6 engineers into 18 months immersion as opposed to sending them to take up a master's degree. Sent them 18 months to a company, immersed them. Came back, tweaked the curriculum, focused the program on microelectronics, and dropped all other options. We talked to the company, how do you want to work with us? They said, we'd like your engineers to do the thesis on the projects that we have. So we said, okay, let's call it guided thesis. So these theses are actually winding up as being incorporated IPs into product designs. And we would normally allow our faculty 50% of their time not handling subjects. If they're not doing research, they will be back in the companies being immersed. So that was our idea of how to fast-track innovation and create excellence in our effort to develop microelectronics as an industry. Like I've said, I don't see a clear way forward. But I would like to emphasize the point that where Philippines can excel, I think we have that unique opportunity now in the field of data science. I'd like to end my reaction to that. Thank you.